Pornography addiction is something most people don't openly talk about, but it's quietly affecting millions. You may not see it trending, you may not hear it discussed at dinner tables, but its grip is real, and it's deeper than most realize. It doesn't always look like what we expect from an addiction. There's no needle, no bottle, no track marks, just a screen. And yet, that's all it takes. To understand why people get addicted to porn, we have to first understand what porn actually is in today's world. Decades ago, it was a magazine tucked under a mattress. Now it's high definition, on-demand, personalized, and infinite. It lives in your pocket, available in seconds. It doesn't ask for money or time. It asks for attention, and it gets it over and over again. The average age at which a child first sees pornography is between 11 and 13 years old. Not by choice. Often they stumble upon it. That moment can be confusing, overwhelming, and often deeply impactful, even if they don't realize it. The brain, still developing, reacts with intense curiosity and excitement. At that moment lays down a foundation. A neural path starts forming, linking arousal, novelty, pleasure, and the screen. Porn works on a basic biological system, dopamine. Every time we experience something pleasurable, dopamine is released. It tells the brain, this is good, do it again. In the past, those signals were for things like eating, bonding, or reproduction. But modern technology hijacked that system. Porn floods the brain with dopamine much more than the brain is designed to handle on a regular basis. Over time, the brain gets used to that high dose. It adjusts. Dopamine receptors become less sensitive. What used to be stimulating becomes boring. So the viewer looks for something new, something more extreme, more intense. That's why people who never thought they'd watch certain kinds of content end up chasing videos they once found disturbing. It's not about taste, it's about tolerance. Just like any other addiction. This tolerance doesn't stay inside the screen. It spills over. Many people who regularly watch porn report lower satisfaction with real-life intimacy. Not just sexually, but emotionally too. When the brain gets used to on-demand, exaggerated stimulation, the real world feels dull by comparison. Relationships require patience, compromise, empathy. Porn requires none of those things. In surveys, many people who use porn regularly say it feels like an escape. They turn to it when they're anxious, bored, lonely, or stressed. It becomes a coping mechanism, a reward, a way to self-soothe. But instead of addressing the actual cause of discomfort, it masks it temporarily. And that creates a loop. Negative emotion leads to porn. Porn brings relief. Relief fades. Guilt or numbness replaces it. Relief fades. Guilt or numbness replaces it, which leads to more use. Addiction experts say that compulsive behavior is rarely about the substance itself. It's about the relief that substance provides. In the case of porn, the relief is emotional, the high is neurological, and the access is unlimited. Porn addiction doesn't always look dramatic, but its effects can be. Studies show that heavy porn use is linked to higher rates of anxiety, depression, erectile dysfunction, and social isolation. It can interfere with career goals, academic focus, and relationships. One study found that among men under 40 with sexual performance issues, more than half were regular porn users. That's not a coincidence. It's a rewiring of the brain. But this isn't just a male problem. While men statistically consume more porn, usage among women has risen steadily, and the effects are often the same. Difficulty forming real emotional connections, skewed views of intimacy, and feelings of shame or confusion. Porn, especially when consumed at a young age, can shape ideas about love, consent, and self-worth, and it rarely does so in a healthy way. Porn addiction is not about moral judgment. It's about brain chemistry, emotional regulation, and digital design. Platforms that host adult content use algorithms that track what users click on and serve up more of the same, often pushing more extreme content. It's not designed to help users feel fulfilled. It's designed to keep them watching. Some people argue that porn is just entertainment. But very few forms of entertainment are consumed in secret multiple times a day with a sense of guilt or shame afterward. Very few forms of entertainment lead to changes in brain structure. MRI scans of frequent porn users show that parts of the brain involved in decision-making, emotion, and reward can shrink or become less active over time. The brain literally starts to look different. There's also a social cost. In long-term relationships, one partner's excessive porn use can lead to trust issues, sexual dissatisfaction, or emotional distance. Even when both partners consume porn, if it becomes a crutch, it often replaces real connection. Over time, physical intimacy can become rare, awkward, or performative. And there's another issue: time. Some users report spending hours a day watching, searching, scrolling. Time that could be spent learning, creating, connecting is lost. The opportunity cost of porn addiction is invisible but massive. People miss out on meaningful friendships, hobbies, and growth. Not because they're lazy, but because they're stuck in a loop that rewards inactivity. The question then becomes, why do we fall into this loop so easily? Part of the answer is loneliness. In an increasingly digital world, people feel more isolated than ever. Even surrounded by online followers or friends, many don't feel truly known or seen. Porn offers a simulation of connection without the risk of rejection. It's easy, it's predictable, and it never says no. Another reason is shame. Society rarely talks about healthy sexuality, especially for young people, so when they explore it through porn, often alone and in secret, it becomes loaded with guilt. That guilt doesn't stop the behavior, it fuels it. Because shame is a powerful emotion, and like stress or anxiety, people want to escape it. Porn becomes both the cause and the solution, creating a cycle that feels impossible to break. One of the most striking things about porn addiction is how private it is. People can struggle for years without anyone knowing. Some function at high levels, hold jobs, maintain relationships, achieve outward success. But inside, they feel controlled by something they can't quite explain. The secrecy makes it worse. It isolates them further. And that silence delays change. But not everyone stays stuck. Recovery is possible, and it starts with understanding. When people realize that what they're experiencing is a common response to overstimulation, not a personal failure, they can start to make changes. Some install blockers, some talk to therapists, others join support groups, some set goals and slowly rebuild habits. None of it is easy, but it is possible. And the goal isn't just to quit porn, it's to rebuild the ability to feel joy in real life, authentic connection, meaningful relationships, curiosity, challenge, love. It's about creating a life where you don't need to escape every day, where pleasure isn't just instant and pixelated, but earned and shared. We have to stop pretending that this isn't a real issue. We need to talk about it with honesty, not judgment, with curiosity, not fear. Whether it's someone struggling themselves or someone trying to understand a loved one, knowledge is the first step. No one chooses addiction, but many walk into it unaware, and with the right awareness, they can also walk out, slowly, carefully, with support, and with the understanding that the problem isn't the desire for pleasure. The problem is when pleasure becomes a prison. In a world where everything is always on, always accessible, the most radical act might just be turning the screen off and choosing to feel again fully, messily, and human.